I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Starting with our council activity reports, I would note Councilmember Hertzberg's not here. I haven't had the chance to talk with him, but I think we all got the news that he was dealing with some health issues, so please just continue to keep him in your thoughts, prayers, meditations, whatever you need to do, that he can recover and get back here. Meeting-wise, we had a budget and finance meeting. I'm not going to belabor that. It's later here on our agenda. Ron and I also met, along with Chuck, with representatives from the watershed and talked to them about our stormwater retention pond project. We got, I think, some very strong support for that. We did talk to them about ways that they can help support us in our application for grant funding for those things, and they're going to help out there as they are able. Otherwise, that's all I have for city meeting business. I do want to take a minute just to recognize that today is September 11th, the 22nd anniversary of, I think, a day that changed all of our lives forever. And with that, every year our fire department participates in a stair climb at Snap Fitness. They climb 110 floors, 2,200 steps with their turnout gear on, which weighs between 45 and 50 pounds, plus the packs weighing another 25. And this year I just want to recognize, because I think it's incredible how many people did it. We had firefighters Shane Jansen, Andrew Nienaber, Grant Leeser, Jeremiah Den, Jeb Johnson, Brody Strand, Jess Stransky, Chris Price, and Barry Gutwald all completed it. And I know a couple of years ago I tried it just for kicks and giggles, and I think I made it to the 8th floor before I said I was done. And I was not wearing turnout gear. So to all those who gave their lives that day, thank you, and to our firefighters who memorialize that every year. I think thank you for all you do for us and for the work you put in for our city. So thank you. I'll turn it down to Megan.
I think the only meeting I had was the Park and Tree Board meeting. We talked about some different nuisances down at Veterans Park. And just kind of, we're getting to the point where we're going to wrap up for the year within the next few meetings. So we just kind of discussed what's been going on there. I also attended the Legion Breakfast, which had a really good turnout. It was nice to see a lot of people there. And that's it for me.
You, Jean.
The only meeting I had was the chamber board meeting, and biggest thing, they're planning their winter events, and got to look at the map that they're finalizing now for this community.
Okay.
I just had a budget and finance meeting.
All right. Department heads, Ron.
Okay, thank you. First of all, the compost, obviously at this time of year, the usage out there picks up quite extensively. So just like to remind members of what not to and what you can put out there, and also to please utilize the donation box out there. The leaf pickup along with that is scheduled for the October 28th. Again, that is compostable bags only for that. We'll be reading meters right around that September 20th. Crews will be out street sweeping probably the next 6 weeks or until the snow flies. Central Care and their project, they will be working on in the road right away along Stearns Avenue. There's taking out 3 approaches and going to be putting 2 additional ones in, or 2 new ones in. So if you see crews out there, that's what they're doing. If anybody drove by the soccer field this past week, that is getting used pretty extensively right now. Also, I think there was about 200 kids out there the other day when I went by. And then just to add on to Mayor Reinke's, the Watershed District, the KLA, Coronas Lake Association, and the Rice Lake Association were in attendance at that meeting also. That was for the downtown stormwater plan. Vibrant, they are going to be having a Good Neighbor Day on September the 28th. And they asked that we just announced that they will be having something in the press on it. Also, they're going to be giving away eggs and butter, I believe it is, over at Lewis Industry. So, and parks, they will be open through October the 8th. So, after that, they still can be utilized, but the restrooms will be, and the water will be shut off after that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. With the compost site, would it also be helpful if people make sure they back their trailers up and throw the leaves as far back into the pile as they can instead of getting it further and further out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Because that doesn't bother me at all. And then I had one more thing. It'll come to me when somebody else is talking. Sure. Any other questions for Ron? Hey, Tark?
Last week of August, I didn't really have any significant meetings, and last week I was out, so nothing to report.
All right. And we'll have our public forum. If there's anybody here for a public forum, we can open that up. Not seeing any eager volunteers, so I'll move forward with the adoption of our consent agenda. And I would note we do have an update. So our consent agenda includes the minutes listed there on page 1, along with the update on the vouchers on page 2. Just pull that so I can give everybody the amount. $250,932.64, along with the fire department's DNR grant on page 3. Is there a motion to approve the adopt the consent agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Soini, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Thielen. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries. All right, we're going to take the Fire Department Relief Association New Business A out of order, just so that Barry can get out of here, because I think they've got meetings tonight that they have to attend to. So, page 51 of our agenda, we just need a motion authorizing essentially the money received from the raffle that took place a while ago.
Is gonna take place.
It's the one for October.
Yes, excuse me, this is the upcoming one. Thank
Yes.
you, Barry.
You want my information on it?
I'm good with it. Anybody have any questions about how we're going to handle this? Basically, the city serves as the money handler so that it can get passed on to the Fire Department Relief Association.
Same as they've done every year.
Yep.
Last few years.
Yep, same as 400 tickets are sold, $50 tickets. We're expecting $10,000. So if you guys can just bypass it, and pass it on to us.
So with that, we'd be looking for a motion as stated on the action sheet to accept the donation from the Legion and to forward that on to the Relief Association.
I'll move for the city to accept the donation from the American Legion on behalf of the fire department and forward the donation onto the Fire Relief Association from their raffle ticket fundraiser.
Motion by Brick, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Soini. Any further discussion? Hearing none, motion is as stated on the action sheet. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Barry. All right, going back up to nuisance properties on page 4. We talked to both of these, residents of both of these at our last meeting. Proposed findings, those proposed findings are in here. I've read through them. By my eye, they look accurate, but I'd be open if anybody wants to propose an amendment. Otherwise, we'd be looking for a motion to adopt these findings.
I'll make the motion to adopt the findings of fact and decisions for 711 Minnesota Street and 899 Flanders Drive.
So motion is stated on the action sheet by Soini. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Thielen. Any further discussion? Did I see a hand, Megan, or we just?
No.
Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor then indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Carries. Right, let's hold off.
Well, Tark, you'll send those to the property owners, right, so they know? Yeah, okay.
We will hold off on the cable franchise. I know that's just gonna drive Kristen a little bonkers bouncing around, but we have to do the cable franchise at 6:30 for the public hearing, so we'll come back to that then. Well then, jumping forward to page 52 of our agenda, looking to set a public hearing date on the certification of past due bills. Something we do every year so that the past due garbage, water, and sewer snow removal bills get certified onto property taxes. We're just looking tonight for a motion to set that hearing for 6:30 on Monday, October 23rd.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Soini is stated on the action sheet. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Thielen. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Carries. All right, wellhead protection grant. Ron, can you talk to us about this?
Okay, thank you. The Source Water Protection, or Wellhead Protection Grant. We have 3 items again that we would be applying for. Again, would be the Water Festival, which we host every spring. That is in the amount of $2,500, and also every spring a newsletter. That would amount to $1,800, and then we're gonna try and see if we can find some more unused wells to seal, and that amount would be $4,000. And this is a first come, first served grant, and so the sooner we get it submitted, the better chance we will have.
And we've had luck with this grant in the past for the water
We have,
festival.
we've used this for about 10 years straight.
So we'd be looking for a motion to submit the Water Protection Plan Implementation Wellhead Grant application.
I'll make the motion to submit the Department of Health Source Water Protection Plan Implementation Wellhead Grant application.
So a motion by Thielen is stated on the action sheet. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Soini. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries. Right, jumping ahead then, the Lake Avenue Riverbank project. Ron and/or Chuck, guys.
Yes, in your packet is a copy of the grant application for the Conservation Partnership Legacy Grant Program. This is the same program we applied for last year. This pertains to the slope stabilization project along Lake Avenue, just south of the bridge, where we've had some street failure as a result of the bank failing. So we've been in contact numerous times with the DNR over the past year. We've tweaked the modification and plans on what's being proposed a little bit. In your packet is a copy of the grant application. The total project cost is estimated to be about $313,000, of which would be requesting $284,545 in grant dollars through this program. So,
And just for clarification, Chuck, this grant is for the riverbank only, it's not for the road that will need to be repaired.
correct, yeah, the road will have to do some patching and some curb replacement
Yep.
once the bank is stabilized.
The remainder of the funding very likely would come out of our stormwater utility fund.
Why would we take it out of there instead of the street improvements?
I think this is, to me, it'd be more of a stormwater concern, dealing directly with the river.
Okay, because of the runoff there. So for tonight, we're looking for a motion to submit the grant application.
I'll make the motion to submit the Lake Avenue Riverbank Project Conservation Partners Legacy Grant application.
So motion by Soini is stated on the action sheet. Is there a second?
A second.
Seconded by Brick. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries. All right. Okay, then moving on to the DNR relief community forestry grant. Ron.
Yeah, I can take this one too. There, in your packet is a copy of an application for the Relief Community Forestry Grant Program. This is a DNR program. What we're looking at doing is doing a inventory of the emerald olive trees in the boulevards and city parks, and doing an inventory of emerald ash borer, and also doing an emerald ash borer management plan. So we did submit an application to a different program last year to do this same work. This is another program. There's considerable more funding in this program than there was the other one we applied for. So.
I think this is one that Tara and I had gone to a class on at our training, and I think we're looking to have over $6 million for outstate Minnesota.
Yeah, they have a lot of
It
funding.
looks very promising.
And that's, I think, in line with everything we've heard from the Water Conservation District as well. A lot of funding has increased with the last legislative session.
And this, you can ask for 100% on this one. There's no match required.
So with this, we're looking for a motion to submit to the DNR Relief Community Forestry Grant application.
I'll move to submit the DNR Relief Community Forestry Grant application.
There's a motion by Brick. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Soini. I heard it there first, Paul. As stated on the action sheet, any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries. All right, on to the EDAP Loan Revitalization Program. Tarek.
This is a program that we developed through the EDAP board, and it was a way to help local businesses improve their buildings and improve the visibility of their buildings. It will be 50-50 shared equally with the township, proposing that each entity put up to $100,000 for this project. And the life of it will be for 2 years, or whenever these funds are exhausted. It'll be open to any business in the city of Painesville or Painesville Township. It'll be interest-free, that is the main benefit of it, and it'll be specifically used for improvements to their business facility. It's not to pay for inventory, salaries, other expenses, things like that. And yeah, we're hoping to get the program started as soon as we can.
I think it's great. Any questions for Tarek, Gene?
No, yeah, I'm on the committee.
Gene, help me with that.
Okay, I know this. But it's a matching grant and matching funds, and it's a maximum of 20,000.
Yes, I forgot that part.
Per business.
Mhm.
This is more info.
And it looks like we're giving it a trial 2 years, which I assume we can always extend if we want to.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah, if it goes well, yes.
yeah. Awesome, let's give it a shot. All right, so with that, if there's no further discussion, a motion would be in order to establish, I believe, the Painesville Area Revitalization Loan Program with funds coming from the EDAP revolving loan, recognizing that matching funds would be coming from the township's revolving loan fund.
I'll make that motion.
The motion by Soini is stated on the action sheet. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Thielen. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Great. Then we have a request from the Green Roof Area Center. Roger? How are you? Yeah, if you wouldn't mind. That way we can hear you on the microphone. We got the video cameras fixed so they can see us better, but apparently the
We don't
microphone's
need that.
broke in the process.
My name is Roger Hess, and I got Ken Johansson. And we're on the building committee over at the Green Roof Area Center. And what we'd like to run by you is permission to build right now we got plans for a 24 by 36 three-stall shed garage to house 2 vans that we now have. We just got another one. The Rose Center, which also operates out of the senior center, put in grant, and they got approval for another van, which we already have, which caused us now concern. Now we don't have no place to park it unless we can build a shed. It's a good situation to be in. But the land that we're proposing to build it on, I don't know if you have a copy of this in your file there. That land is the parking lot right now that is leased to us from the city of St. Painesville. Okay, so we're gonna need permission to build that shed on that leased land because we have no other place to put it anymore. Okay, so it would be in the southeastern corner of that lot 2 that's shown there. And of course, we want to keep so many feet back from the easement to the backside. We have enough room on either side, the north and the south side, to move that building either way we want, by keeping up with what we're required to do. And we got some measurements, I think, from Brad, which tells us we have to stay so many feet back. We had the lot surveyed and done that already. So now we're just looking for approval to build the shed. And when that happens, we want to move the shed back as far as we can up to that easement, which means we're going to remove some old pine trees that are there now. Probably 6, 7, 8 of them, I think, is what I counted. They're going to be dead in a couple of years anyway, so I didn't think that was going to be much of a problem. But that would leave us with not taking away as much parking spot as we won't lose hardly any, and it'll allow us to better remove the snow off the parking lot by doing that. One other request, well, what we're looking at too is the 24 by 36. We haven't completely finalized that. Some people now feel that maybe we should have it 24 by 40 feet to make more room for additional storage space, as long as we're at it. So when we say 24 by 36, we'd like to get approval probably for either a 24 by 36 or a 24 by 40. With
We
that,
met with Neil there when we had it surveyed, so we'd be honoring all the setbacks and the utility easement, we'd be maintaining off the utility easement.
Yeah.
And as he brought up, the trees are kind of approaching the end of their life anyhow, so at some point there'll be some more of them probably have to go.
And the next one, the third item on there was currently we have the shed classified as commercial building. Like classifying as commercial will cost us an additional $6,000 because we have to put drains in there along with up to a 50-gallon holding tank on the side, which I personally don't think we'd ever use it anyhow, but it's going to cause us the extra expense to do it. And Brad said it's zoned commercial, that he didn't think that we'd be able to do it because it's zoned commercial. Well, it's a
If it
it's a
wasn't
shed.
commercial, the 1,000 square feet, it's under 1,000 square feet, so if we were anywhere else, we wouldn't have to put that in.
Yeah.
So one of the considerations also for you to think about as far as if, we're asking for a variance on that, but another consideration would be even if we could just put in the floor drains and the concrete and not have to go into the oil and fuel waste container outside, that would save us considerable. And if at any point in the future it ever became a use down the road that merited that, then that could be added in at that time. But if it's just used like it is, then we wouldn't have to put that in.
So those are the three requests that we're asking now to run it by the council.
We'll start with the first two, the construction of a 24 by 36 or 24 by 40 and removal of the pine trees. Anybody have any issues with that? I don't.
No.
I can't imagine anybody would. Okay. As far as building classification, Bill, I'm gonna look to you and kind of have to put you on the spot to be the bad guy maybe, but I don't know that we have a way around that, do we?
I mean, if the building code requires it, Brad, I'm sorry that Brad's not here because he would know more about what's required and what's not required by the building code. I don't know if there's a way to, to permit the building and then require it later, if the use changes. It seems sketchy to me to be able to do that in the future, but, I guess I would defer to whatever Brad would say on that. I don't know enough about the requirements of the building code without looking them up to say.
And as far as classification, because the lot is zoned commercial,
Yeah.
that's going to govern any structure on it.
Right.
So really the only way would be if there were a lot split and a rezone, which, given the commercial nature of everything over there, I don't know that we would spot zone something other than commercial.
Wow. I mean, it's a 100-year lease, so it's a long time, but I imagine, in the long-term future, the likely use of that property would be commercial, I would imagine.
Yeah.
It may stay as a senior center forever for all I know, I'm not sure, but.
We hope so.
It's gonna be for a long time for sure, so.
Because I wouldn't be opposed to it if I thought we had a mechanism for granting that. For granting the relief from the building code. But I don't know that we can. I think on that part, at least our hands are tied.
And I think the zoning of it, you've got commercial on both sides. It wouldn't make sense to spot zone it to something different, I think.
No, we're not asking to ruffle any feathers here. We just wanted to run it by you.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a valid request to make, and I understand where it's coming from. You're dealing with limited funds that you get through grants and donations and things like that, so certainly you want to be wise stewards of how you spend it.
Can I jump in, Sean?
What's that?
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
This brings up a confusing thought where if we have storage units surrounding town, within the city, somebody wants to store their vehicle there and use it occasionally, are they required to have a drain and all the other things needed with it that the Green Roof Center is looking at doing?
If it's not commercial, no, right?
I mean, if this were to be labeled a storage shed,
But I think
we need to be able to get around that.
residential and commercial zones have different, or building codes have different requirements, is what I'm getting from
But
this.
some of the storage sheds are in commercial zones.
Yeah,
And they're not, they don't have that
fair.
in there.
Well, I think end of the day, if there's a workaround, it's something to be negotiated with Brad, building
Work
inspector.
with that on the building permit process.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a way to get around it, and if,
Suggest that.
yeah, if there's something we need to approve, we'll consider it. We want to work with you. I just don't know what there is. But yeah, if you tell us you're building a shed instead of a garage and that makes a difference, then okay. I'm good with it, however you want to use the space. And you've been wise stewards of the land out there so far, so we'll keep working together.
Okay.
I don't, okay, so then with that, I would call for a motion as stated on the action sheet, which would allow the Green Roof Area Center to erect a 24 by 36 or up to a 24 by 40 detached shed, and remove several pine trees with the understanding that it will meet all city zoning requirements and state building codes.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Soini, is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Brick. Again, it's as stated on the action sheet with the addition of 24 by 36 or up to 24 by 40 detached shed. Any further discussion? And again, I'd say if there's a way to be flexible that Brad can find out the building code, I think you've got our support. It's just, yeah, we'll go
Thank you.
forward and do it. So, thank you. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Carries. Right. Can we talk about a budget levy in 3 minutes? Sure. Sure. So, Budget and Finance proposes a preliminary budget levy of $1,327,977. I will say that that is not the number that we left our meeting with in terms of where we thought the budget would land. But that is what we recommended because we know as a preliminary levy, we can't go up, we can go down before we pass the final levy. So we had talked about a number of things that I thought Belinda was going to put in here. They didn't make it, but would end up knocking about $150,000 off of that number if they were enacted. But some of them involve some significant changes to staffing levels of open positions, and we wanted to discuss all of that with department heads before recommending it to the council. So with that, the recommendation from Budget and Finance is for a preliminary levy, as stated on the action sheet, for $1,327,977. You'll notice Belinda set it up a little bit different this year than we have in years past. There's a general fund levy, the tax abatement levy, and then the debt service levies. This was done at the suggestion of our auditors, who said it would really be helpful to break everything apart rather than doing a bunch of transfers throughout the year and various other things. So this is going to be a time savings for her. I think it also adds a little bit of transparency as far as where the various monies are going. So Budget and Finance was all on board for doing it this way, and again, it's our hope to come to you with a much lower number before passing the final levy. This is just a preliminary to get us started.
This is more in line with how cities are going anyway of showing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to see it that way. I'll make the motion to approve Resolution 2023-23, adopting the proposed 2024 tax levy collectible in 2024.
All right, there's a motion by Soini as stated on the action sheet to adopt Resolution 2023-23. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Thielen. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Right. And then we need to set a public hearing for our truth in taxation. We have a proposal of Monday, December 11, 2023 at 6:30. Is there a motion for that?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Thielen to set a truth and taxation public hearing for December 11 at 6:30. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Soini. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None? Carries. Right, going back up then, all the way back up to old business, let's talk about MediaCom. I'm going to recess our business meeting and I'm going to open a public hearing on the MediaCom ordinance and franchise agreement. So just as a matter of course, we've had a franchise agreement. It expired. We'd been operating kind of on a, I don't know, month to month, or just sort of operating under the old agreements, automatic renewal sort of, or continuing terms. But with the request for MediaCom to provide us with the equipment in order to broadcast a high definition signal, they asked that we update to this agreement. Tarek and I did sit down and negotiate with them on a couple of, well, Tarek more than once, but I sat down on at least one meeting. They agreed to provide the equipment to go to an HD channel. They wanted a longer agreement as far as I believe it was up to 10 years.
10 years, yes.
And we said, nah, we're just gonna leave it at 5, because if we're being real, we don't know what the future of cable television is going to look like anyway. So,
Well, if you notice, because we do get revenue from this franchise agreement, I think it's 5% it says in here. And if you notice from 2020 to where we are now, 2020, our revenue from MediaCom was around 25,000, and it has been declining every year. We're forecasting for the coming year to be about 21,000.
and there is an option for like a local access or tax or something like that.
Yeah, if we want to.
And I think it would be, my recommendation as somebody who helped negotiate this, that we not implement that, because that's just going to get passed right on to the people contracting with it. The only other agreement I can think of where we charge that is on the garbage bill contract. And I think that's a little bit different, because there the garbage trucks are driving over and causing the wear and tear on the roads and things like that. Once these lines are buried, they're buried. So, I mean, Vibrant was a little bit disruptive the last 2 years, but now that the lines are buried, they're buried. So I just don't think it justifies having a cost that's going to be taxed onto the subscribers. But that's my thought.
I agree.
It's something in here if the council wants to look at it.
Can always do it another time.
Any other thoughts or comments on the public hearing portion? Take testimony from the public. Okay. With that, we'll close then our public hearing, 6:33. We'll go back into our business meeting. Going back up again to old business, item B, page 9. If there's any further discussion, we'll hear that. Otherwise, a motion to approve the ordinance would be in order.
Make the motion to approve the cable television franchise ordinance number 47, third series, between MediaCom and the city of Painesville, an official summary of such.
All right, there's a motion by Soini as stated on the action sheet. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Brick. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Carries. Right, with that, that includes everything we had on our agenda for open business tonight. We do have a couple of properties on our calendar, or on our agenda, looking to discuss a counteroffer on real property located at 311 Washburn Avenue. And at the suggestion of Kristen, so that she doesn't have to open and close the meeting and deal with all of the tech stuff 100 times, she suggested that whoever makes the motion to go into closed session include the 311 Washburn and the parcels for pivot number 8, 26.15491.0004 and 26.1491005. 15491.0005. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
I'll make that motion.
And that would be to discuss both properties?
Both properties.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded, motion by Soini, seconded by Thielen. Go into closed session to discuss both properties. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None? Motion carries. We will go into closed session.
I will just note for the record that Jennifer based on her discussions with the league, wanted us to cite the statute of 13D.05 subdivision 3 for closure.
Yes, yes. So Kristen, if you haven't closed us out yet, thank you, Bill, for catching that. The motion is under 13D.05 subdivision 3, which authorizes us to go into closed session to discuss offers on property. So, thank you, Bill. All right, then with that, we'll go into our closed session.
I didn't mind that last time.
I know.
So much paperwork, so much stuff.
If you stick around, you stick around. If not, you're done.
I assume this won't take long, so.
Probably not.
I hope not.